Welcome back, everyone. This is another Hot Action Fishing and Fab YouTube video. This is part 2 for the micro skiff build. I'm going to go get my little helper to help me transfer the shape of this transom to the little micro skiff out on this piece of foam board. Alright, put that right tight up against the back of the transom. Then I'm going to grab my Sharpie marker. And see, she's got her push flat to the back of the transom. I'm just kind of half-ass trace this thing out while she's holding on to it. Just trace it out and around. This is throw it up here. Yep. And there you have it, the shape of the transom of the boat. Obviously this isn't going to work because I traced the exact shape, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit. Take my Sharpie marker and kind of eliminate that, and then I'm going to go about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch in from the outside of this, make my radius all the way around the transom like this, because my goal is to have about an inch gap around the outside of my Coosa core transom, so I can fill that with my peanut butter. Alright, I got the first rough cut of my transom cut out just using a tile knife. I got this insulation board for free. It kind of sucks. It's got like 2 layers of like aluminum tape on it, and makes it super tough to cut in one pass. Don't recommend it. I traced it out, cut it out, and I got the shape that I'm looking for. I'm going to do a little bit more fine tuning with the trimming on it, and should be about ready to transfer onto the Coosa board. Let me flip this around and show you guys. I got about a 1 inch gap all the way around the bottom and the edges of the back transom, which I'm pretty solid, pretty happy about that. That's kind of what I was going for. That's what I like, to have a small gap around the outside. I'm going to trim the top edge a little bit better, and this thing should be about ready to be transferred over onto the Coosa board. Alright, well, I got my template cut out and laid down on the Coosa board, and right now I'm just going around the outside of the little template that you see there with a Sharpie marker, and getting ready to get the jigsaw out and just start cutting. I need to cut out 3 of these templates because my Coosa board's only 1/2 inch Coosa board, so I want to have an 1.5 transom, so 3 of them to make an 1.5 inch. So time to do work with a jigsaw. Save all your little pieces. It'll be useful. Can't do that with marine plywood. Alright, I got all 3 of my pieces of Coosa cut out for my transom. I'm going to bond them all together now using 3/4 ounce chop strand matting and polyester resin. One thing with chop strand, you don't really need to cut it. Just tear it. It'll make your life easier in the long run if you start doing that early. Makes it easier to fare out. You won't have as many hard lines and stuff to sand out when you need, if you're gonna be painting something when you're all said and done. Also, makes it a little easier if you score it. If you score it, it seems to tear a little easier. You don't have as many like big rips. This is laminating polyester resin. Doesn't have any wax or anything in it. Yeah, you just lay it up and you don't have to sand it after you lay it up. You can just keep stacking glass on top of it. You have like, I don't know, probably 24 hours to work with it before you have to worry about having to resand it again. In 24 hours you can come back to it and you can lay up more glass over top of it. I've been doing this for quite a long time now. I got an eye for it. I'm trying to remember the exact measurements, but most of my stuff I just do by eye now. I think I got about a quart of polyester resin in here, and I think it's like 5 cc's to a quart. I think that's right. I might be wrong. You might want to double check, but like I said, I do most of my stuff by eye anymore. Once you get doing it quite a bit, you kind of just know what you need, and even just by the temperature in the air you kind of have an idea of how much catalyst you need for your resin. This is a polyester resin, and this is MEKP, methyl ketone something peroxide. Do not want to get this stuff on your skin and your eyes and anything like that. It's not good. But there you go, just catalyze it, pour your hardener in, mix it up. Make sure you mix it up nice and good. I don't know, stir for 30 seconds to a minute. Once you put your hardener in there, the clock starts ticking, so definitely start getting after it. I'm going to do a pretty heavy resin-rich layup here with my transom, because I'm not going to use any peanut butter and like that. I'm just going to use the glass, the 3/4 ounce chop strand in between them. I'm going to lay this all up, get all my Coosa board all slapped together, all 3 pieces, and then gonna bond it down. I'm gonna set it on the ground and put some weight on top of it. I got some other buckets of resin that I'm gonna use for a weight to kind of hold it down. Make sure it gets all the air bubbles and air pockets out. But yep, just lay in the resin nice and thick, nice and heavy. Lay it on nice and thick, cover the whole board. Good. Wiped all my boards down with acetone. Again, just more resin, more resin. More resin you get on it, the less likely you're gonna have air pockets in between your boards. There you go. You guys see it. Transom's put to bed. Tonight I'm gonna let it cure overnight and let it get nice and hard, and then tomorrow we'll get back at it, and I'll cut and trim everything, sand it all down so it's nice, one nice big piece, and we'll bond this thing down into the boat. To clean my rollers and everything, super simple. I just put a little bit of acetone in the bottom of a bucket and I throw a rag over it so it doesn't evaporate so darn fast. And yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna let it cure overnight, and tomorrow we'll get back after it again. Alright, it's a new day. Just pulled the transom out of the shed, busted out the grinder and the sander, and started in on it. Started grinding everything, all the edges of the transom where the glass hung over. Got it all back smooth and nice and even again. I'm gonna test fit it in the back of the transom and go from there. Alright, I got my transom clamped up kinda where I want it. I'm gonna poke a hole where my drain plug goes. I'm gonna poke that hole anyways, and I'm gonna use that to help me bond the transom down into the boat using just a piece of all thread. Alright, this here is what I'm gonna be using to bond my transom in with. Got my high load adhesive filler. Recommends to use it with epoxy. Supposed to use epoxy. I use it with polyester resin, and it's never gave me any failures and never had any problems. It mixes up really nice still, and it works. It does what it needs to do. Obviously my polyester resin here, that's what I'm gonna be using, and then I'm just using a little plastic trowel, little painter's trowel or whatever, to smooth it all out and lay it all nice and thick on my transom. And probably gonna measure up probably around 1 3/4, 2 quarts, and get that all thickened up real nice for you guys, and stick it in the boat, get it all bonded down. I like to have all my clamps and everything ready to go, because as soon as we get this all mixed up, you gotta start working with it. You only got so much time to work with it all. This fume silica, or this adhesive fiber, is not good for you at all. I know a lot of people stress that. Don't breathe it in. Try to wear your respirator around it. You should be wearing your respirator at all times when you're doing this stuff, but definitely wear it when you mixing this kind of stuff, because it's really light. It like flies up. You'll see it in the video. Not good to breathe in. So I'm gonna throw my respirator on and mix it all up. Alright, I got it mixed up. This is the consistency I'm looking for. Kind of drips a little bit. It's a little easier to lay out, and when you do lay it out, it will, when you smush everything together, when you clamp everything down, it really seems to bond really well when you have it at about this consistency. That's what I like working with when I'm doing it and doing this process. But all right, I'm gonna lay it up. Boom, got the transom all clamped down, clamped in really good, obviously, as you can see, because I got a good amount of oozage from all my little holes and stuff that I got in the back of the boat. That's what I like to see. That's one reason why I don't really like to fill all my holes in the back of my transom quite yet, because when you get all oozing out like that, you can really see where you're lacking filler and where you might possibly have an air pocket. But this one looks like it bonded in pretty darn good. I like it. Obviously I'm going to scrape all this excess off, all this excess filler off. Yeah, but yeah, that's what she's looking like. I'm going to take all my excess that's all, freaking oozing out of the top, and I'm going to try to pack it down on the bottom, down in the bottom, in between the bottom and the gap, save myself some time and some money later on, just having to use this filler instead of wasting it, all this oozing stuff. But yep.